There you go. I'm just tying a salmon jig here. Making a replica of one I already had made. I'm trying to remake it, recreate it basically. Go ahead and drop a like if you're in here checking it out. Just getting the tie on here. And I put some flash glue and some glue on here. And to glue this tail down. Make sure it doesn't shift on me. And we got kind of like a little thunderstorm going on outside, like a little rain, crazy storm. So hopefully everything's good and the power doesn't go out. Yep, rabbit zonker using a purple barge. It's like a purple barge strip, I guess it would call. It's like I think that's what they call it. Ribbed. It's like ribbed something, black bars, I think they call it. This one. So it's not just straight purple, there's actually like black bars in there. It's kind of funny though. Let's see. Yeah, focus kind of gets weird with the camera sometimes, but that's just how it is. It wants to see me moving in front of the camera. Megalodon bait. It's a pretty big hook. It's a pretty big hook actually. It's like a 4/0. believe this is a 3/8 ounce though, 3/8. But it's a pretty big hook, so pretty big hook. And we're gonna put some green in here. It's a pretty darn big hook on this, and I had to put a piece of cork on there to keep myself from getting stabbed by the hook, because it's the hook that this company that I bought it from, is the hooks are super sharp, and so it's really trying to not get hurt myself, basically. We're gonna put some chartreuse in here. I just happened to be up and I was like, I'm gonna tie a jig. Been tying nothing but mostly trout flies lately, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to that jig because I want to have another one laying around, even though there's no salmon to be had right now. It's just like you'll have it ready to go later on down the road. I would hope not. Your own lure, you know. I don't know though. Sometimes when you look at a fishing lure, you just feel like, yeah, the fish are gonna go for it. You just know, like, just by looking at it, it just looks. I'm trying to remember how much I wrapped this one. This one's kind of different, because this one requires a lot of different rabbit zonker strips, so it's a little tedious because you gotta put like 4 different colors in it. And it's actually more like bass color. Like there's a lot of like top water like deer hair jigs and like flies that have this color scheme in them, but it's different. It's made with different material, so it's kind of similar. So I've been looking at it like, should I try this for bass too? Just like throw it out there and see. I don't know. You kind of learn from other stuff though when you start. Like I tied flies first before I started tying jigs, so you kind of start learning from that, and then you start realizing like some of those color schemes work in another way. So like I tied like steelhead flies before and other trout flies, and then I started realizing some of those trout flies work for steelhead, and then some of those same colors work for panfish and bass. And I was like, oh, this is kind of like interchangeable, sort of, just using different materials to get the same thing, or different, movements and stuff. So, and then every once in a while now they have so much new products, so now you can pair what you want with what you think, and then boom, you got something new nobody's really seen before, or it's variation of the same something else. Or you can like see a fishing lure, a hard bait, and sometimes you can look at the color scheme of that and then make a fly or jig or something that's similar color to it, but out of like, hair and stuff. And it's like, it's kind of like you got the idea from seeing that, or, seeing those colors on it. But, fly fishing generally was, the lures were started by seeing the actual, an actual bug or shrimp or something in the water, and then trying to imitate it, because the fish weren't biting, they just were focused on one thing. And fishermen decided, hey, I'm going to copy that fish. I'm going to copy that, shrimp or whatever. So fun stuff though. It's fun when you get to create something like that though. Yeah, I put this little piece of cork on here so I don't hurt myself. And this rabbit hair is, I did a video on it, how it tries to flip forward. And that's what this one is doing. If you can see, it's trying to roll forward when it should be going the other way. I mean, I guess I could wrap it the other direction, but I've kind of got my mind set on it. See, I already knocked that little piece of cork off of there. It's trying to roll forward, so I have to keep doing this with my hand to get it to kind of start to cooperate with me. It's definitely this particular strip when I bought it. I just knew, like, this is just giving me a hard time. It gave me a hard time last time when I tied this one too, because it's just a particular zonker strip. It's just the way it came out from being in the package and the way they cut it and stuff. I've had a discussion with some other jig tires about it and fly tires about that and getting around that issue. And it's just kind of like, this is how it is with some of these strips, if they're the cross cut versus the other one. Just kind of boxing with the hair, rabbit hair. You just gotta keep working with it until you get it how you want it and snug. Jigs are so much different to tie than tying trout fly, I'll tell you that. It's a different beast tying these. It's just a different thing. Making sure they're snug. And you're fighting that hair a little bit. I was watching a video today of some other YouTuber fishermen and stuff that I bumped into on the fishing hole and in random places, and I was kind of laughing about something he said about they're at the sportsman show with cracking up. They're talking about they're like lizard, and he's like, well, looks like my dog grew a tail like a lizard. And I was cracking up about it because I was like, I was saying something about that like a couple of weeks back before that show came about, and then they were talking about lizards and stuff, and I was like, what? I was like, that's funny. I was like, I was just thinking about some goofy phrase like that, and now they're talking about something. I was like, sometimes it's just coincidence, I guess. It was just funny though. It made me laugh. One's a local guy, and then one's was out of Oregon. It was pretty funny. I've met both of them before, so it was pretty funny. It's kind of like, hey. That little bump right there. I did graphic design class school, so color schemes kind of for me, I already was tying stuff before that, and so it was like, then they teach you about the colors and how they're supposed to match and not match, and it kind of just was like, oh, kind of already had an eye kind of for it. So then it's like when you do something like that, it didn't take as much learning to learn how what colors match with what colors, or what looks good together, and what's difficult to match and make the colors look right. So, but now there's so many color shades of colors that are the same color but different shades, to where you see the lights are kind of doing something. You never know. You might get shut down. Hopefully not. It just doesn't seem like it's that windy out there. Wind's kind of blowing, and they're just putting out like a little mini wind warning. Hopefully not. I wanted to do blue, like a dark blue, and see, but it's like the black bars in it, and that's what that tail is. But it's purple with those black bars. I really like this blue. I really like this one that's like purplish blue. It's like purple on the ends, but it's blue like kind of in the center. But I don't have any of that one. That one's really, really nice color. And the coho love that. I was like how aggressive they were when I fished that though in October. How they responded to it like immediately. That color, I was like, wow, they were like, weren't responding to this other color like that, but they responded to that color like immediately. I was like, well, I know there's fish, and I put that color on the jig on there, and immediately as fish were chasing that in to the bank and stuff. I was like, wow. Like, that's all it took. Big thing about getting these hairs tied in there good and glued in there pretty good. You don't want this to roll on the hook, so because it will roll on the hook. Okay, almost ready. I'm trying to see. Yeah, and I'm gonna do. Yeah, we'll do the blue. Probably should have done a little bit more green, but that's okay. It'll probably come out all right. Should have put maybe another wrap of the green of that chartreuse on there, maybe. You got like purple flashaboo in the tail, and then purple crystal flash in the tail for a little like accent color. This is gonna be like a salmon jig, but the color scheme I'm using could actually probably be used for like largemouth bass also. So I've been staring at it. I made one already, but I've been staring at it like I could probably like. I'm kind of curious to toss it for bass, largemouth bass, or even maybe smallmouth, just to see if they'll go after it because of the color, the type of color it looks. Because there's a couple flies that are similar with this greenish blue color and purple, and they're used for bass. And but they're made from like deer hair, and they're like top water. But this is like a sinking type of thing. So I was like, I bet you this would probably work, you know, the same way, but it's just a rabbit hair jig. It probably would work just the same. Just it's sinking, you're fishing. This is part of it too. You gotta make sure to try to get these hairs from doing weird stuff on you. They get a lot of static too sometimes when you pull these out the package, the hair. And then I was struggling the last time I tied this one because one of the packages, I don't know, it got electrically charged basically, and man. I think that's pretty good. I think that's like about where we want it. We're gonna put like 2 wraps up. Yeah, we could do one more. We're gonna put some legs and stuff in here. I'm gonna tie it down like right there. Make sure it's snug. You can see there's like a difference. The blue is like, this blue one is more thicker, the hair, and more bushy, and it's a different type of strip cut. So that's why it's like that, but it kind of works out because the green, the chartreuse is on the tail. So that chartreuse is on the tail, and I just put a little bit of that chartreuse to kind of. I was just up and I was like, I'll tie one. I'll go live. I'll tie one. I'm tying a lot of trout stuff lately. I've been kind of switching back and forth between trout and salmon. So, like, and steelhead stuff, jigs and flies and stuff. This camera kind of does wonky focusing, but some of the hair kind of, it starts buzzing, floating around on you. As you can see it floating around, light and everywhere. If you ever start tying flies and you got a cat, be on the lookout because they will get after your flies sometimes, or jigs. And I used to have a cat at one point, and I would tie a nice, beautiful fly and I'd leave it in the vise. Not a good idea. You know, cats catch birds and things, right? So yeah, and they're curious sometimes. Not a good idea. Came back to the fly all over the place and warned me about it, and I didn't pay no attention. And yeah, the cat had a feast. There was feather over there. The hook was still in the vise, but all the feathers that this nice, beautiful fly I spent time fishing or tying was destroyed. And hackle over there, tinsel laying over there, cat nowhere to be found. The feathers are all over the house, all over the fly tying area. I was like, gosh darn it, I spent all that time. I glued it and everything. I was like, I'll just leave it. It's like, he won't. I was like, she won't get it. Cat never comes in here. Nope, I was wrong. That's the day the cat decides to go in there. Yeah, but this is a salmon twitcher. So, and I got all kind of, I got steelhead ones, like steelhead style ones, and all heavier weighted ones, different colors, and I'm just getting them. Different weighted ones, just decide to tie one up late. Just tie one up on the live. Decided just to tie one up on the live. Figured. And then we're gonna put the legs in here. I'm gonna cut these a little thinner. So here's a little tricky part. Let's get these in. I'm actually gonna, usually, sometimes I do these different, but I'm gonna actually just lay these ones on the side. Down the side of it. Like that. And they're purple and black, so they're gonna match. Turn it to this it's on the side here. I want them to match, so. Matching, matching, matching. Just a little glue, make sure they stay good. Put the legs in here. Just turn it to this. Let's see here. And then flip it this way. So that was kind of it. Let's see this one. This one's straight to the side. Yeah, I better annoy this one a little bit. It's not quite. Let's do like this. You gotta be really careful with these legs on this one because they will, man, these ones will really tear. They tear really easy. These legs on this, from this brand, they tear so easily. And I've torn them and then had to retie them in. And I've been like looking at other brand because I just don't like that happens with this brand. And I've used them before, but I just didn't like the fact that it does that. It just, something about that just bothers the mess out of me. I was like, why does it do that? There's just something about these ones. I don't know what it is. They tear really easily. And I've had some issues with them. Tying these jigs with this one. And then we're gonna finish it with a black collar on it. And this is the one part where I had issues. When I put the black in it. That's where I had issues with this one because it tied so many colors to it. When I tied this last part in, I was fighting the rabbit hair for whatever reason. Oh, got a flicker of light. So we're doing a late night owl storm tie. Yeah. Storming tie. Let some of that thinner get in there. So let's put some thinner so it's like get down into the thread. And that's why I keep rotating it. Because that thinner's rolling around on the collar of this jig. And I put a little bit glue underneath because I didn't really put enough. And it's also going in, mixing with this thicker glue at the same time. It's thinning out the thicker glue at the same time, and it's like kind of penetrating into the thread and stuff. It makes it more solid. Since I don't use the UV right now. I don't have UV glue that hardens like instantly. This is the old way to do the head cement and everything. But pretty soon I'm gonna start playing around with UV next month a little bit, tying some stuff. See if how I like it, or if I just want to go back to using regular cement because I'm so used to using it and using the regular cement, or I even use fingernail polish too. I'll use like clear coat to make my flies and stuff sometimes. Certain types of clear coat. I look kind of funny walking into a Sephora. Walking into Sephora. What is this guy doing at Sephora? Fingernail polish? Like, yeah, I'm just gonna. The lady's looking like, what you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just tying something. They're looking at you all funny. You walk into Sephora, picking out different types of clear coat, trying to see what's inside the clear coats and stuff. Some of those clear coats don't lend well to tying. They got stuff in them, like stuff to strengthen the fingernails and stuff. And then some of them are just clear coat, top coat, a base coat. But you can use them for tying flies and stuff if you kind of know what you're looking for. And so it's kind of a cheap way to have glue. And I've tied tons of jigs with just fingernail polish or fingernail clear coat to hold the glue stuff, and never had a problem. Caught 6 pound, 7 pound salmon on those jigs year after year, same jig, and never had a problem. Never came apart. So fish didn't know the difference. Matter of fact, I was just watching a thing about the guy. He's like, this is an old pattern, and he was showing this old pattern, and I was laughing because it was like they used like cat whiskers to make that pattern. I was cracking up. I was like, that's funny. I was like, but I could see that because I've made feathers out of dog hair before. I made a lure out of dog hair before to see if it would work, and it semi worked. I had a German schnauzer, and she always got haircuts all the time. So I was like, let me just take a patch of that and hair that the little groomer had cut off, and I was like, let me just. I used to have a dog like that, and I was like, you know what? Let's see if that nice, crazy hair on that dog will catch fish. Fish will even pay attention to that, make a little fly or something out of it. Didn't catch anything with it, but I figured if I would have kept fishing with it, I probably would have caught something eventually. And this is another thing, is trying to make sure this collar doesn't get too big. I'm using 8/0 thread on this one, so this thread's a little thicker. It's a little bit thicker thread that I've been using. I usually use 6/0, which isn't that much of a difference, but I've been using this 8/0 thread sometimes to see. Yeah, I see what I'm trying to get. So when I do this, those legs will be hidden under there, and I need to glue that in a little bit. So I try to glue sometimes we'll try to glue each piece in. Like, just because that's a lot of thread. And it's a lot of thread to be tying onto something and hoping it'll stay perfectly in place. So yeah, I like to use that thinner to get into those threads because it really locks that thread in and then seal it down. I know it would be, and I think once I start using the UV, they have the different ones, and I looked at it and they had a thinner type, so I was like, well, maybe it'll be faster instead of doing what I'm doing. And I don't really have to dab that, but I do just so when I wrap it, it doesn't get into I don't want it to get into the fur too much and ruin it, or the rabbit and ruin it. All right, so we're gonna sweep these legs back. Sit there, get and wrap it. And this is the part that I was talking about where it was fighting me because it's got like a little static to it. And then trying not to tangle the legs into what you're doing. And this is where the fun starts. At least the last time I tried this is where the fun started. There's a lot of static on the that came from the packaging. So this hair for some reason was just like giving me a headache and a half to try to tie it in. And I only needed to do a couple of wraps with it. Yeah, it's trying to roll on me. It's got to kind of keep manipulating that hair till it the wind till it cooperates with you. But this is one of my favorite ways to fish for salmon. It all started when I caught a first pink salmon with a jig, and then I had tied. Then I went out and bought some, and then I just went crazy with it. And I started I just like the feeling of that lure straight to the line. And it just reminds me of bass fishing for them pretty much. It's just what it felt like. I was just like, I feel like I'm just bass jigging. Like I fish for bass almost, but it's in the river. Oops, sorry, y'all. But yeah, I'm almost done. But I'm fighting I'm just fighting this hair here. And I'm wrapping it all the way up to the head of the jig, which I didn't do in the last one. I left for a little more room, but you'll see what I'm gonna do once I get it in there. I'm kind of doing it this way because I'm going to try to, because it's trying to push forward. I'm doing it this way so when I get ready to tie it down, it'll push the hair back. It'll push the hair back and should be all right. And so I'm gonna sweep the hair back here. Yeah, and there's lots of companies that make these jigs, so yeah, this one's gonna have like a really small collar on it. There's like a little spot right here. There it goes. Get a little piece right there. Not the most prettiest looking jig to me, like the collar of it, but it's gonna fish pretty well. Sometimes they come out really nice. The collars of the jigs. sometimes they're like this one, where it's a little bit, you know, it's my little own hand-tied jig. I'm not doing it, trying to do super perfection on this one. But I think it looks pretty good. I mean, you look at it. If you look to see the collar under there is a little thicker. Just a little bit. A little thinner there because that's where I wrapped it down in there. And you can look at the other one. Kind of came out like that with this one too. But this is the other one. Pretty close to the same as the other one that I made. Pretty close. But I'm not really worried. It's pretty much for myself, and if somebody wants one or not doesn't want one. This where they say I want a certain color. Can you make that? Yep. So that's why I kept sweeping that hair back. A little bit of hair got caught right there. So now it will lay back rather than keep trying to push forward as much. And you still see some of it trying to, but now it's not doing that like it was doing when I was trying to wrap it and stuff. It's that putting that thread, those wraps of thread has kind of made it so now it wants to cooperate. And the cabbage. Again, get that knot to knot down on itself. Yeah, this is a dot. That I'm using. I'm gonna take this and put it. Where's that little? That is basically a twitcher, just a crazy color. I think it looks pretty good. Get this glued down. This one gave me so much trouble the first time I tied this color scheme just because of it's. Usually I'm only tying one or two colors, or like just the tail, then a center, and then the next. It's only like three, but this is four, so it's like boom, 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 4 different colors, not just the tail. Tail's the easy part. The tail's the easy part. And people say, let's cut a little notch in the tail, so it flows a little better. It's pointing at the tail when it's in the water. It will move and flow a little better. Aerodynamic, as they say. Oops, there's my needle. Yeah, didn't quite get where I wanted it to go. There we go. Not quite where I wanted the thinner to go. Yeah, so that's the thing. Getting that thinner in there. If you really want it to stay, every time you tie the hair in, put a little bit of thinner in there. And then we're gonna get the other glue. I might have to use that one. And this jig is actually it's from Arrow Jigs, the actual jig head itself. It's basically like kind of like the ones that addicted twitchers are. It's like the same, but I'm just tying on that jig head. The color schemes I want to tie on it. Which is cool. It's been working pretty good. I can't complain. They're good hooks and everything. They're really sharp. So I put a piece of cork on the end because I've hooked myself with them while trying to tie them. And I was not having a fun. All right. Let me do it like that. All right. There's a jig. 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 There is a salmon twitcher. Yeah. Let's see. Kind of let that glue move around. Let me see here. I'm gonna see if I can dry it a little faster. I'm gonna hook this. Hook this up. That wind is cooking outside right now. The wind is just going. You can see that stuff blowing in there. Get away from my fly. Trying to keep that hair from blowing in there. Don't really have to do this. I could just leave it, but I want to be able to touch it sooner. Not have to worry about the hair. The hair. I want to be able to take it out of the vise sooner rather than waiting for it to totally set up. So that's why the UV would be. It's gonna be a little better once I start experimenting with that a little bit. That'll be fun. Once I start experimenting with that. Let's see here, take it out of there. Yes. Pretty good. Got the rubber legs. I trim these off. Let's do this here. Trim some of this crystal flash and stuff back a little bit. There you go. Oh, there it is. There's the salmon twitcher all said and done and glued down. The little hairs are still just kind of going crazy right there. Those 3 or 4 little rabbit hairs. Pretty close replica of the other one. Hey, Paul Sway. Yeah, it's pretty close to the. Pretty close to the last one I did. This one just gave me a lot of trouble. That black hair on the front, but this one, this was a lot easier. It cooperated with me a lot more. For whatever reason, that static from the packaging, it just drove me nuts. Just to try to get that hair to sit, and that one just wants to lay down. Wanted to lay down almost perfectly. Sweep back. This one I did. The first one I did was like, no way. It was like it's not gonna be it. So there's one. Yeah, I think it came out right. You know, that's like the purple and black legs on the side, kind of to match the tail, because the tail's purple with black bars on it. Yeah, I think it came out all right. Came out okay. Had to put a cork on the front of that hook though, to keep myself from getting stabbed by the barb of that hook, because that hook's like a 4/aught hook, so it's a big hook on that jig. So I was like, I got stabbed last time. So I was like, put a little piece of cork, like, bloop, on the end. I was like, not this time. I'm not having that happen this time. Let's see if I can use the rest of this thread I got. This Danville's thread. Make a little different jig. I think I have enough humpy jigs now. I don't think I'm set. But I'm gonna make one, but I think I'm set. I've got so many colors and weight sizes of those now. I think I have so many. I think I should make a different colored one. I'm gonna try to use the rest of this thread. The smaller thread on this one. Smaller type of jig. Yeah, this thread is not, it's almost gone. This thread is like almost gone off the thing. So I'm not surprised that it's just kind of funky. But I want to use it on this smaller one, jig. Yeah, this is like soft, a little bit softer thread than the other one, but I'm trying to use the last little bit that's on there and see if I can tie a jig with it. I still have some other thread laying around. I got some tan and some other stuff. It's tan thread laying around too somewhere. Somewhere around here. Oh, let me plug this back into reach for your extension cord. And I'll tie another, like, I might just do that. That is what I'll do. I'm gonna tie like a, yeah, that's what I'm doing. This will be fun, because I don't usually tie them this way. This will be fun. Do something different. Yeah. We'll use some white marabou for the tail of this one. I'm gonna try to palmer this one. Let's see what we get. But this is gonna be marabou. So this will be marabou though. I'm gonna try to palmer it around the hook and see how it comes out. See how it comes out. I'm gonna do like a white tail and then we'll white tail on it and then we'll see. So keep this marabou together. Oh, it's going crazy. Got some pinch of marabou. Trying to keep it that way because I want the big bushy. Because I want it to stay like that. Kind of bushy looking. The right amount. This is going everywhere, isn't it? Ooh, that stuff is just flying everywhere. And it just decided to like do a mini rainstorm. Washington. Washington rain for you. And it's like a little windstorm going on out there. And we're gonna tie it down. Yeah, I decided to do like a late night, early morning. Now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning here. Even later for people when they're on the East Coast. Next, it's already like you're already. It's probably 3 o'clock over there. You're on the East Coast. But I decided to do this one kind of like I was a little up because I shouldn't have been up, but I was because I fell asleep at a weird time in the day and I shouldn't have. So then as I got up, woke up like it's like 12 o'clock. It's like 11:45. Tie some stuff. Yeah, so it's like we're getting ready to go to work probably in like an hour or two. It's only like 1 something. It's like almost 2 here. It's like 1:50, something like that. It's crazy the time difference. Like this, I was up yesterday, like, and then Tristan was like, "Where were?" Like I was on a live, and they're like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "Well, you do know, like, for you it's 9 o'clock. For me, it's not 9 o'clock, because they're they're like in the East Coast. So I was like, it's not 9 o'clock for me. It's like 6 something." And they're like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, so for me, it's like early. And it works the opposite way in the evening. So like, they're like, we're going to bed, and I'm like, I'm still up. It's kind of funny how that works. The time zones. Get some of this stuff because I know this stuff's gonna fly everywhere. Yeah, that feather had so much stuff going on, like little leaving particles. The only thing about this marabou, when you try to put the thinner, it just does crazy. It sucks in the thinner really crazy. So you have to. Sometimes I forget, and I'll try not to put too much thinner on there because this will absorb even into there and go right up into the feather. It's softer than that rabbit hair stuff. It doesn't have a hide. It's not sitting on a hide or anything. So it kind of. And then we're gonna put. We do green. And then we're gonna do pearl. We're gonna do pearl. Pearl. We do some pearl flashaboo on the tail. This thing is getting tangled. It's tangled. The original bag it came in fell up, got holes in it. Now it's trying to get tangled on me. Trying to keep you tangling up on me. Put one flashaboo piece in. Yeah, I'm actually doing these like one singular by one, kind of where I want them to be. Trying to kind of get them to be all over. I was trying to put them kind of on the back, bottom half, and the sides, because that's what this thing's gonna be above them, and that's where the line's at. So I try to fish them just above where they're holding at, so I don't snag them. So try to make it so the flash is like right there. So it's like if the fish is looking up at that, it's like right in their face, that flashing part. So I try to like make it all kind of go around it. Even, try to make it kind of even. I'm gonna put 6 of them in there. One more. Put it like right there. Oh, nope, doesn't want to cooperate. Trying to see. That pearl blends in so good, it's hard to see it. Looks pretty good already. Yeah, we'll put another one in over here. No, see it right there. No, I got it covered pretty good. It's covered pretty good. With the Flashaboo. Pull it up a little bit. And for a while I was doing a lot of these streams like this where I was like early in the morning. And then I kind of stopped because it kept prompting me to do these streams at this time. It started trying to automatically schedule a stream at this time. I scheduled a stream for like 3 in the morning. And I was like, what's going on? Like, it just YouTube got a mind of its own at that point. Whatever, I don't know what was going on, but it had got a mind of its own. It started just like putting stuff in. Like, it was like, your scheduled stream for this day. And I'm like, what? I didn't set that. It just started scheduling me. Every time I would do a stream at the time and I would cancel it, it would just start scheduling for 3 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, 2:45. It just did it on its own. And then finally it just stopped doing it because I kept canceling it. I was like, why is it doing that? It's trying to tell me when I need to go on there. I can't do that. And then we're gonna do the two like this is laying on top. And that crystal flash on the top. Two pieces laid across the top there. And then looks pretty good. 2 little pieces of strands on the 2 sides. And like right there. And on the side. There's that one there. If I can grab this one. And we put it low on the side. Okay. Pretty good. 4 pieces. Try to save these little pieces sometimes, but for like smaller patterns. Small little pieces. Try to corral them things before they blow away, when I dry the jigs off. Let's see if I can put it in the cleat. We'll put it in this thing. That'll work. So they won't fly away. Okay, so then we're just gonna palmer this. Let's see. Could do this 2 ways. Purple and pink. Let's try it. And then I'm gonna do purple. Yeah, we'll do purple and pink. We'll do purple and pink. Maybe purple and pink will look good. Like purple and pink on the front. Purple and then pink in the front. Let's see how it comes out. This thing does not. this does not look like there's that much in there. Every time I pull these things out, it does not look like there's that much in that bag, and then there's way more marabou in there than I anticipate. I'm like, wow, there's way more marabou in there. I was talking to another tyer, and I was trying to help him with the marabou because we were talking about it, and she was like, we were just talking about how, like, she's like, how you make them fluffy like that? And I was trying to explain, like, you gotta pick the right, the right type of feather because there's different ones in there. Like, that's different, totally different looking feather with a plume on it than this kind. That's two different. You can do two different things kind of with that. You get two different effects, with the way the lure, the way the jig or fly's gonna swim. Just because it's a different, little different section of the bird, basically. I was trying to it's hard to explain it. I was trying to send a picture of it, but that's like literally what I was talking about was like, boom, that's that, and you could do the same thing that I'm about to do with this one, but it's going to be a different effect. See, because it's like, that's more like a real feather when I wrap it, it's different. But when I do that with this one, it's more sparse. So I was trying to kind of explain that. And then there's other ways to do it. There's more than one way to do this. I think I'm literally gonna palmer this like I'm doing a hackle, which I think is kind of fun to do. Gotta be kind of gentle with this. Because this stuff breaks really easy. I was showing this before, different day. But this is one way to kind of get a spade look, but the other way is to do like it in the dubbing loop. And I was like, you can do it this way. And we're gonna see how much of it we can. Get on there. And that's the thing. This is so soft. You have to be really careful. It's a little challenging to keep it. That's what I got that clip, but I think I'll be able to do it without the clip. Here, we're gonna see. Let's see if we can do it without using that little like a dubbing clip or anything, which I haven't been using. But since I started doing this, I was like, yeah, I need that clip. I need to get a clip. And I was like, oh, I found my clip my makeshift dubbing clip that I've been using. So. Oh man, let's see if we can make this work. Make the fly tying magic. Jig tying magic. I think this will be might be very chum salmonish. This one, because it's gonna have purple. I think it'll be pinks and chums will kind of go after this one. Maybe steelhead too. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see what we get. It's gonna be interesting. You know what? I am gonna use that. I'm gonna put this in a bag. I had a bag up here. I will put this in this. There we go. Put it in the lunch bag. Won't blow away. I can find it later. Gonna pull some of this off so I can have something to grab on my hand. All right, let's see. So what I'm gonna do, so manipulated feather, and I'm going to palmer it. Probably gonna have to do this a couple times the way I'm doing it. Gosh, that wind. Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge to do this. Might have been easier to do the dubbing loop, but we're gonna try this. And this is the part of it that is crazy. It tries to stick on you. That's the part about doing it this way. Because that stuff is just flying everywhere. It's so soft, you can easily wrap on it and not see that you did. And that's why usually I don't palmer them. I just tie them in, and then there's so many ways to do marabou. Code a few ways to do it. But I take my time and have fun with it. Yeah, see, it kind of wraps on itself because the feather is so soft. So, and rabbit hair kind of does that too, but this stuff is so soft. See, you have to kind of feather it. Because it'll easily just like wrap on itself and you won't know you did. So you got to keep kind of like you have to kind of keep finessing, basically finessing this stuff a little. See, because it's so soft to cooperate with you. And I might just do the dubbing loop on the next one because I'm going to have to do a lot more of it. But this is one way to do it. Is to do it this way. Works really good if you don't have to do a lot of it, I guess. Kind of like you're combing it. Okay, we're gonna tie it in now. Tie it off. That's just so soft that we have to be really kind of. That's what makes it kind of difficult. I think that's what some people, when they do the space stuff, I think that's what they struggle with, depending on what technique they choose. But some people really like doing it this way, and some people like doing it the other way, and they really like it because when it's finished, it looks really good. Like, and it moves just really good. And see, so like, see how it makes the tail kind of. You just have to really pay attention to it when you do it that way, so you don't wrap on itself. And it helps if you have like a wire or a bobbin pin or something. You can do it with your hands. It's just really tedious, and it helps if you have something you can kind of. It's like super super soft. But if you see how if you look, see that's kind of how a spay, when you tie a spay fly, that's what it would do. You see, it's kind of stringy and soft over the top of that white. And then, so I made a tail in the center, so it's thick, and then that just kind of flows around it. So that's one way to kind of make like a spay type thing, and you can make damselflies that way. You can make, you probably could even do, you can even do type of woolly buggery type stuff like that too, for bass and stuff that way too. Whatever your imagination thinks you can do with it. Let's see what color. I'm trying to think what color I wanna. I know I wanna do the pink. I'm like, do I wanna? Cause now I got this shape to it. I can do a lot of different things right now. Now that I have this like this, I have it like kind of tied in like I want it. I can do like a lot of different. That purple looks blue to me on the camera. Something about the way the light's hitting it. So we could do. So we did that. See, now I could even do pink. Don't want green. Could even do. It's like, I'm trying to think, should I do another purple one or should I do it the other way? These are the strong ones. We'll do another one. We'll do another one. We'll see if I can find another feather like that one. This one didn't get many of those type of feathers in it that are long like that. It's got a lot of different feathers in it. So if you want it to look like that, you got to pick one out like that. One that has like a true quill to it. Yeah, you need one with like a true quill to it. But these make really good tails though, when it's like this style. But then they have the other feather. It's like a real, then they got ones that are like a real quill, kind of like this, but they go all the quill go like like the turkey goes all the way up. So it's just kind of where it comes off the bird. Try to do one more. And this one, do I want to do it that way? Do it the same way? We'll do it the same way. We'll do, yeah, one more purple, and then yeah, I was laughing at those addicted guys, the one addicted guy and the other guy. I was like, I remember you. There's a video, one of the video. I've been in so many other people's, a few people's YouTubes, and they don't, you don't see me. It's funny. I'm like, I just happen to be there. Like it's weird fishing or whatever, and I'm just kind of like, I'm in the background. Like, I'm like, hey, it's filming over there, but I'm doing my own little thing. It's funny. It's funny that the one he was doing, he did his at the Sportsman show, and it's funny because years before I bumped into him and I was salmon fishing, and then he was like, "Is there you seen any fish today?" And I was like, "Nope." And then that's the same day he made that video, and then he dropped that video like a couple days later, and I was like, "Hey," he came up to me and was asking me. I was like, "Oh, no wonder he was asking me." And he made a video on that river. And he like fished upriver from me. It's funny. It seems to have happened to me a lot. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him. Right. Like, oh yeah. So we'll do purple. These marabou, boy, they're so gentle. To be so gentle. Just a little bit. Yeah, this is one I don't think I could tie this outside on a windy day. I did a live and I tied one outside. I tied a jig outside. I didn't post it though, but I tied it outside, and I don't think I could tie. I think I could do rabbit hair outside pretty easy. Rabbit hair, but I don't think I don't know if I would be able to do a marabou, especially if it was a little gusty. And that day was gusty a little bit. And I was able to do the marabou, or maybe the rabbit hair. I don't think I could do it with marabou though. I think it'd be really difficult, especially where I was at the time. Yeah, I might have to do this a couple times to get this like I want it. All right, here we go. Look at this. It's moving stuff in the yard right there. I can hear that. Take that up a little bit. Yeah, stuff for out. It's just. Yeah, see how it's so soft to where the feather to where you really do need something sometimes to kind of manipulate it if you do this. Because it will tangle on itself really easy. It's very similar to doing the dubbing loop, pretty much. The only difference is dubbing loop, you put it in the dubbing loop and then you spin it and you go. Once you got it spun in there. You do it this way, you gotta really pay attention a little bit more. Kind of get the same effect though. And I'm sure for some tires too, this is just easier. This would be easier for them to do because it's similar to doing the hackles. You're doing a hackle for a trout fly or something. And if they already have that skill, it'd be easier for them to get it down, kind of. See if you can get it like that. There it goes. Not too bad. Trick is just not to wrap it on itself. Because this stuff is so soft that it will not come out right. It's not like the other hackles, that's all. Then you can take your hand usually. Just gotta be gentle. I think that's it right there. Starts to get too thick, if that makes sense. And I'm going to use these for something else. The piece that's left. The piece that's left over. Yeah, someone said, use tie space. I said, yeah, I can't do it. And like, it's just, there's just different ways to do them. This way, it just takes a little longer. If you do it kind of that style. Because you're just palmering the hackle. And you're just basically building it up. That's not too bad. Two pieces. I mean, pretty bushy tail end with the purple. Let me see. So now I could even take the Chanel now and put it right there if I wanted or whatever I want to do. But I think I'm gonna go. This would be the other way to do it. So that's almost got the same effect as doing the dubbing. I think I'm gonna do about that much pink. I think I have to do 3 pink ones. Yeah, I'll do 3 pink ones. Put this away. Yeah, this way is a little more tedious. But it still looks really good. Get some cirrus. It's weird, they didn't put as much of this plume in this one as the other one. There's one. Probably gonna need 2. If I can find a good one. There's one. I found one, a good one with the actual quill in it. So that was like that. Be like that. I don't know if you guys can hear it, the train. The train going. Okay, let's see. Ooh, that one, no, that wasn't gonna work. Thought that one would work. I'm wrong. I was wrong. There we go. Just tying up a jig. Whoa. See, I could even just do like that. See, it's different. That's a different effect, you know, if I just tie it in and lay it on top. And then lay one on bottom. And just keep doing that until I get it. I've done it that way too, and it worked just as good as tying it like I wrapped it. But it's just a little bit different. Just a different effect. Look at this train. Just tying this spaced out. Okay. See, it's just such a soft feather. You can't just use your hand the same as you would with some of the other feathers. It just doesn't. It's just gonna tangle. It's just not gonna work all the time. Yeah, see, it's trying to tangle right there. Right? Yeah. Like it's literally tangling with the purple feather. That's like right there because it's so soft. That's how crazy that is. How gentle you have to be. Manipulate the feather basically when you do it this way. And that's why it's taking me so long to wrap it. But if you take your time, the finished thing looks really cool though. If you take your time with it. And when you do it this way, it's easy when you're only doing one. That's the best explanation of it. It's easy when you're only wrapping one of these. It becomes difficult when you do more than one on top of each other. Don't do that. You're trying to act up on me. See, if you can hold the feather, then you're good. But sometimes with this stuff so soft, you can't pull the feathers back like that. They're just too Sometimes you can't pull them back like that to get it to wrap like you want it. They're just too soft. A feather, they want to go where they want to go where they want to go. Getting it through all that plume without getting it all messed up on itself is the name of the game. So yeah, these are, when you do it this way, it's definitely a challenge. There's one. We're almost there. Getting there. Let's see. Yeah, I tied something similar. Something kind of, but not on a jig. This is going to be on a jig, so it's going to be really crazy. I'm done. Kind of looks like that one pattern, popsicle. It's called like a popsicle. That's kind of what it looks like right now. That's exactly almost what it looks like right now with the pink. See, so now it's like, see, it's got a lot of volume now to it. Takes a little bit more time to make it like that, but if you can see, it's got a lot of volume to it now, but it's thinned at the same time. This would make a really good jig to drift, and you can twitch it too, but I would probably drift it more so and just let this just all move in the water. But you can see it's big poofy jig now. It's just a little bit more tedious to do it this way. But you get a really cool effect. Really, really neat effect. I think I'm gonna do one more pink feather. And wrap it, and then I'm gonna let me see. What would that look like? that in there. Could put dubbing. Hey, Caden. Tying kind of like a spade jig right now. Pretty neat, nice and poofy. I'm just trying to decide if I want to put this in there, or if I want to not, or if I'm going to do something different with it. It's like, should I put this in there, or another pink feather in there? I could put that in there. Yeah, it won't look right. It's got to wrap. I got to wrap it. Decisions. You gotta pay for shipping and handling, man. This tying gets expensive, man. Like, even for me. And I'm getting ready. I'm prepping for this. For me, I'm prepping for the season too. Like I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be fishing probably in a couple more days. I'm gonna start getting out there because now the weather for here is changing. So tying this stuff costs some money. It's $4 just for a little pack of. That's $8. I don't mind sending some stuff, but I can't just send it and just because, in a way. But I might do like a giveaway thing eventually. Some kind of giveaway thing of something. Or I might do like I'm thinking I might do if you're still in here, but I might do display boxes. So like you'll get the jig or the fly, but it'll be like as like a display more so than the fishing. But you could take it out of the box obviously and fish with it, but it'd be like you could also display it like in a display on your like a table or a desk. I was thinking about just maybe doing that. But that'd be like a giveaway thing where the jig or whatever I tied is in that box, and you can set it on the table and it stands up and it like magnifies it so you can look at it and see what it really looks like. You'll be able to see what really the details and what went into it, making it. But I wouldn't doubt that this would catch fish over there. Bass like Marabou. I probably would change colors though. The color of this Marabou for if I was fishing bass, maybe. Probably still would work though. Bass bite a lot of crazy colored stuff, crazy colored lures, and so do panfish. Here goes the fun part. I like how it's looking though. This is coming out. Now with this feather, it's a little bit different than the other feather. I can actually wrap these ones that I've picked out a little bit better than the first one I had. That's what I was kind of explaining to the person. I was like, you can wrap them, and it's just you just have to be able to pick out the right feather from the Marabou that you bought, or the kind of Marabou that you bought, and then you can do it. It's all Marabou, just has to have a certain characteristic if you're going to do it this way. To be able to wrap it like this. The fun with feathers. Yeah, I did partially wrap that one on that one. I could see it. There we go. So soft the feather that you got to be really clever. Okay, let's see here. We got a real windy storm going on out there. Boy. The rain. Okay. There's Marabou number 2. And you can see now it's getting really building up. That's huge jig. Compared to that, it just appears that way. It's going to shrink down in the water, but it looks huge compared to that I just tied earlier. So let's see, what do we want to do now? We want to We could do blue. I think I'm doing blue. Blue and pink. We're gonna do blue and pink for sure. Let's see. Definitely do. That's what we'll do. We'll do purple. Do purple at the front. No, that'll be fine. Ooh, what? Washington is having a storm. We're having a storm, like this weird thing here. We had like this weird little mini storm the day before too, and just like it literally gust of wind for like a couple minutes, and it was gone. And then I was like, oh, it's nothing. And apparently, like that caused like all this stuff in like this other part of town, in this other place in Washington. It's crazy. It like flipped trees and did all this crazy stuff. And then I went outside and around here, and I was like, I don't see really much of nothing. I was like, I thought it was windy, and apparently it was like this thing. I was like, oh, it's like a crazy ass, like crazy weird storm. Wow. So we're gonna put a slapping feather in now in front. And we're gonna see how this comes out. We're gonna try to do slapping now all the way the rest of the way. Slapping. The slappy. It's really gusty out there. I'm hoping I make it with this fly before the in case of power. Just hoping it does something crazy. I'm hoping. Well, I can still tie it actually. I realized I got this weird light. I forgot I have this special light thing. I can still tie actually. Won't be the funnest. Okay. Oh. Anybody see that? Anybody in the live see that? I better hurry it. Get this last part done on this fly, on this jig. Don't rush too much. You do that, and it ain't gonna really come out all messed up. Kind of the same issue with some of these slapping feathers too, because they're so long. You gotta really make sure they splay out like they're supposed to. Otherwise, you'll have like gaps. But this is basically like almost like tying like a popsicle or whatever, one of those type of flies, kind of, sort of salmon type of fly, something that they'd use in like Alaska or something. The popsicle fly is pretty old standard salmon fly. So it's basically just a big spade wrap like this. Basically just wrap the same way. It's like a spade wrap type of thing. But I think it's used up there a lot. It used to be used up there a lot way back when. I was so into that, watching those fishing shows way back then. So someday I'm gonna catch those fish. And I did. And people said, "You ain't gonna catch that fish." I said, "Someday I'm gonna catch me one of those salmon." I went out there, forced your parents to take me to the thing. Next thing you know, you find the fishing net. So there's no hackle pliers. Oof. Ow. Oh, if you're in here, drop a like. We're just finishing up this last part of this jig. I'm just gonna make it really kind of thin at the front. I might even do like a little purple. I'm gonna tie in some blue, and I'm gonna give it a flash of blue color. We're gonna do a blue one. Deep poofy blue color. Try to match the size of that purple one. So we're gonna mix it with, and then we're gonna mix it with one of these. All right, we're almost done. This one took a minute because I really wanted it to look nice. It's like I don't want to. I'm trying not to fumble with tying this one. And, I'm really trying not to mess it up. What I'm doing here. I'm really trying to keep those feathers glued in there. On this one too, because I'm doing a lot of different work on this fly. See, so this jig. So that's the thing too. It's like when you tie these jigs and stuff, and like sometimes you're doing a lot of stuff to make one. And you want it to look good. And you keep doing them and keep tying them, and then you get faster at it. But yeah. So we're actually mixing this. We're doing a slapping feather slapper with the Chinese. It's called Chinese, a strung Chinese saddle hackle. So it's a little different. And we're switching over to it's like what would you call that? To the we're gonna have it look like the cotton candy color. Kind of like I did the little weird tumpy coho twitcher thing. I was kind of messing with, playing with the color. We're kind of doing that right here on the front. Let's see in there. This is what's hard about it. Just trying, same concept though. Try not to wrap on the hackle because you want them to stand it. So that's the part that gets kind of goofy right here. And I'm tying two at the same time. 2 hackle feathers at the same darn time. Rather than one at a time. And that's gonna be the collar, little mini collar. And I'm still not done. I'm gonna add one more thing in once I get this wrapped down. I got 2 little pieces that I am going to use for something. Put them in my to use for later bag. Can make like small little woolly buggers or something like that. So now I'm gonna try to do this. I don't have almost no room to work with this no more. But I'm gonna try to do it anyway. I almost have like no room on the front of that jig. Salut, TVA. I have like almost no room to work with it. We're gonna try anyway. Pull these down. It's just a little bit of these all sprawled out like they're supposed to be before I do this. And we got power trying to act like it's gonna go out. Storms. Got like a rainstorm going on this morning. Right there. There it goes. Sort of. Trying to cooperate. There you go. It's like this big old bushy, weird, crazy jig. Yeah, it's like kind of like a spade jig, Evan, right? That's pretty much what it's like, a popsicle fly. And took a minute to get the back end in, and there's purple. You can see the purple in there. But it's mostly all marabou, whitetail, a little bit of flash in the end. And I just put the hackle in the front. So I just threw it together. And the last thing I'm going to try to do and see if I can get it to work is I'm going to try, I don't know if I'm doing too much, but I'm going to try to put one more element in here. Basically, and then I'm done with it. And we're gonna see if I can do it. We're gonna try to put a dubbing loop in it. Twisted one. I'm gonna try to. We're really gonna try it. But so far, it's coming out pretty cool looking. Just trying some different skills mixed together. try that. And we're gonna put this in there. Even though I made this thing and I soldered this thing and I made my own dubbing twister, I'm probably still gonna buy one. Because I saw this one that has all these cool features to it. This one dubbing loop, this one dubbing twister is pretty cool looking. I was like, this one has all the cool stuff to it. But this one doesn't work too bad. You can spin it. You can see me spinning it. Let's move this up. Hello, Swedish. Just tying. Thank you for your support and subbing. We got a storm going on here. Trying to get this to spin. Not wrap around my thread here. Let's put it over here. Here's wrap it over here. Put this over out the way. It's trying to get my feather there. That's the only thing with the Marabou. It's so soft, it just wraps into anything. Mm-hmm. So it makes it a challenge to work with. So when you do a spay pack, kind of a spay stuff, because I'm trying to wrap a dubbing deal here. And it's trying to do something else that I don't want it to do. See, it's trying to spin in there, and I don't want you doing that. It's like, I'm gonna go where I want to go. That's what it says. That's why it's good to have a little bobbin deal, but I don't have one, so that disappeared a long time ago when I moved. A couple years ago, I was like, where did it move? I don't find it. The boxes or anything. I don't know if I'm not even gonna. Yeah, it's kind of hanging up there. Come on. Spin for me. It's acting a little goofy there. Okay. So this is what I was gonna do here. Was just make a little mini if I can get it to just a little mini sparkly collar on it, just because on the front. Just like a little extra flash on there. It's not quite like I want it. I probably should have put more, but looks all right. It's just like adds a little something to it. And this is just a cable terminator, basically. Old table terminator. I use it as a dubbing spinner. I wish I could have got that like more bushy around the whole thing. That would have been really cool looking if it was like silver like that, but more bushy around the whole thing. But that's fine. It adds a little flash to it, even if it's just a little bit. Gosh, that wind is serious. I'll just pick this out a bit. All right, it looks pretty good. Just needs to kind of get snipped out of there a little bit. Wish I could have got it more even, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, the dubbing is fun, Evan. Like getting, you can do some fun stuff with the marabou too when because you can spin the marabou and like I did when I did the little damselfly, and see how I wrapped it. You can like take it and do something similar, but you spin the I've done it before, and you spin the marabou, but you just instead of putting the marabou in a clip like that, and then cutting it and then putting it in your dubbing loop, you can you just peel it all off, all higgledy piggledy, and stuff it in there like I did this stuff, and you can spin it, and then it just looks like this matted thing, and you wrap it, and it comes out really good, and it kind of has like it kind of does similar to how this came out, but it's a little more wild looking, and fish like it, salmon like it too when it's like that too. Really, they like the little because it's kind of like it's breathing, but it's not like how like it's long and flowing. It's like smaller, compact, and these fish seem to like how that looks when you tie it the right way with the right colors on certain patterns. You can do that, and it's basically like you're making a hair dubbing out of the marabou, so it looks like that, and then you put it in the loop when it looks like that, and then you wrap it. You can do it with green. You can do it any color. You can make salmon flies out of that like that. I think there is a salmon pattern that's like made with that someone came up with. I don't remember what it's called. It's named. I think it's named after a river too, a section of river. I can't remember. I think I think there is. I don't know the name of it though. I have to go Google it and see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure someone came up with something with doing that technique, and it's a salmon thing, some kind of salmon fly or something. This is the funny part. This one, I used the blood quill, but I showed it in the beginning before I started getting going how I picked it out. Like I selected the specific feather out of here, because they kind of mix them in there. So sometimes you'll get the other type of quill inside there that's from off the other part of the bird. So you, even though you bought it and it says strung marabou, sometimes there's another type of quill in there. So you just have to learn how to what you're picking at, like, and you can pick through and be like, oh, that one, I can still make this other pattern with it because there's like 5 or 6 of those feathers in here to get the different look. So some are more like these were like more like a true feather. They have like they have like a actually quill tip to them. So I was looking specifically for ones that had that. Like this one, you can see it has a real quill in it. So you can actually palmer it over and wrap it. And that's what I did. I just palmered these so it looks like a spay fly or something. But instead of dubbing, looping it, and then pulling it back, I just wrapped the actual feather and made it have that same effect. Made it look really full looking. It's just a little bit harder to do, but you still have to do this. You still have to kind of play with the, I had to use a wire to go through each. Every time I wrapped one, I have to go through so they won't wrap on each other. So you get a big bushy looking marabou, look, big bushy looking, lure. So it looks like it has, volume to it, So he says, if you look at it, well, it really looks huge. It's like, but when it gets in the water, it's gonna like kind of slim down. But if you put it under a bobber or something, it's just gonna because the way I wrapped it and tied it, it's just gonna. If you drift it, it's really gonna just kind of swim in the current. More so than this one I tied earlier. I tied that earlier. I was just doing a duplicate of another one to see if I could do it because I was struggling with it because it had a bunch of colors to it. It has like 4 colors to it, so it was just a pain in the butt to get. For some reason. Oh yeah, I was saying the static. That's what it was. The static. The static from the package was making the hair do crazy stuff. Yeah, they have those bigger turkey quills, and at the end they're thicker, at the end where it would be in the bird, that piece is thicker. This part is like, like that part. See, it's thicker. You can't really wrap that, but you can save that. That's why when I cut it, because I get to use the soft part. And then now I can dub. I can still make a spay with that, but I have to put it in the clip, and then put it in a dubbing loop. So that's why, like, even though I don't throw it away, I keep like some stuff like that because I can, like, when I run out of stuff, I can still make something. Try to use all that feather. The feathers are, they kind of spend me. But that's what I was trying to say. See, it's like that. So instead of taking it and put it in on there like that, I took it by the end, like you do a hackle feather, and tied it in and then wrapped it, and then that's what made it look like it is now. But it's a little tedious because it took two purples just to make that, and 2 just to make this. And I was gonna do it all the way almost to the front, so it would just been a big old bushy thing, and then I changed my mind. I was like, I changed my mind. I was like, I'm gonna do it this way instead. I was like, I'm just gonna get creative and add some other stuff to it. Let's see what it looks like. Should have put more dubbing though. A little bit more dubbing right here. The little pearl dubbing. So it would have been like more bushy. But I didn't have much space to work with. I just kind of made that decision on the fly. I was like, I'll just do it. Still looks good though. Still looks really good. Where's that white? Oh, still looks pretty good. It still looks really nice. And it's just got a little bit of flash. I mean, pretty sure salmon. I mean, look at that thing. How it's, you know, it's a big poofy fly. Big poofy jig. Yeah, I was trying to kind of like, I wanted a little bit more purple under there. Probably, maybe because I mean, maybe I should have done 3 here and then 2 here. That probably, yeah, maybe next time like do 3 there and then 2 here. But I just did 2 and 2 because it's tedious to do that. You know, I have to literally, that's what I have to do every time. Every time I do one, every time I do a feather, I have to take this wire and pull it. You know, make sure they all sweep back. They don't wrap on each other, and they flow back. And then I did the tail just normal style, where you just, you know, I did the tail normally, like you do a regular marabou. Just pinched it, put it in there. So, and then I just put a little crystal flash, purple crystal flash, or pearl crystal flash, and then flashaboo in the tail. I'm gonna glue it down here. That's the one thing with the salmon, the fish and stuff. You can just make up whatever you want to do and go see if it works. I'm sure that I'll catch something with this in fall. I'm thinking of salmon now before even long time away, but I'm sure it will. It looks a lot like the popsicle pattern, just pink in the pink color. That's good enough. It's glued down. There ain't much there to glue down. Just dry it a little bit. Spin it. I'm gonna try to clean this off so when I do this, everything don't blow everywhere. Yeah, it's like a little weird storm out there. Just man, all these little feathers everywhere. I'm gonna have to vacuum. This is just something I made up. That dandelion one is made by these 2 guys. I forget the name of the 2 guys, but they wanted to make a damselfly as fast and as easy as possible, something they could just tie up really fast. And so they like sat down and were like, we got to make up this fly to fish this place. And then they came up, I guess they sat overnight and they came up or whatever and came up with that dandelion, the damselfly nymph fly that was easy to make, that you don't need a bunch of materials. You only need you only need 2 materials to make that. And I just added the crystal flash. So that was an extra material. Didn't even need it. But this doesn't have a name. But it looks a lot like they call it like a popsicle. Kind of looks a lot like that pattern. And there's another one. I can't remember the name of that one, but it's the same style, but this is on a jig head. And then I just added the color combo I thought should go there with what I have here. So I think it came out all right though. It looks good. It's just tedious to make it look like that. just really tedious trying to make it look like that. And I wish I would have added more of that Flashaboo dubbing. I think that would have been really neat. Or if I had that Iced Chanel, like that Iced Chanel dubbing, or Iced Chanel would have been nice if I had some of that, like in like purple or pearl, or that would be kind of nice as an accent, because I was trying to accent the tail by putting pearl on the front, like a color scheme. Let's put this away. Yeah, I wish I would have had put more of that on there, but yeah, this has no name. It's just a Marabou Twitcher / drift jig. One way to get a really large looking jig though, or make it look like it's full volume looking jig. Yeah, it has no name. It's just a creation. Just a Marabou jig with a hackle collar and a dubbing collar, or a dubbing collar on it. Kind of like in a space style. Yeah, but that stuff should have put more. All right, y'all. I've been at it since 11:45, and it is now, I can't even see my eyes, 3 a.m, I think, here my time. Probably 5 or 6 for you guys if you're on the East Coast. If you're in Texas, or if you're in Texas somewhere, it's probably like an hour ahead of me. Drop a like. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me tie. You can go back and watch the replay and the other jig I tied before I tied this one. 6:30. Okay, yeah. You're 3 hours ahead. Yeah. I believe Fishing Ontario came, or Outfish was in here, and he's like, "Man, it's like this time over here." I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, I'm in Canada. Like, yeah. 5:33. Yeah, so you're like, yeah, you're probably like airplane ride. You'd be like 2 hours from me, probably. You're 2 hour plane ride from me, pretty much. Yeah, that's probably right. 2 hours, 2 hour plane ride. I think it's 3 hours to Illinois from here if you get it direct. I think that's right. And I think it's an hour and 20 minutes to Arizona from here. But yeah, I'm out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed. You can watch, if you want to go back and watch the replay, you can watch me tie the rabbit hair jig here also that I tied. You guys have a good morning. Enjoy your day, and hope your day goes good. Talk to you. See you later. Always tie up.